2013, I am considered a big kid. My 18th year of life and my 13th year of school. And now the adults around me are stepping back, giving me a backpack of responsibility and letting me test my own wings. I am terrified and excited of the decisions I'll make, of the idea of university or independent travel overseas. But little do most of my peers experiencing the same things we realise is that just 74 years ago, hundreds of men and women around the ages of 18 or 19 or even younger underwent huge responsibility changes too, but not quite with the same prospects as we do. These young men and women weren't deciding if their duvet spread matched their curtains. They were deciding whether or not to stand up and fight for New Zealand, in a country miles away from home, where life and death wasn't a sure thing each day. Before July 2nd, in 1940, just under 1 kilometre away from where we sit today, James Allen Ward was about to make a decision that would affect the rest of his life. Growing up in Whanganui, James, nicknamed Jimmy, aspired to be a school teacher and never would have dreamed that his teaching career would be cut short in order for him to become a renowned pilot in World War II. After just 6 months of training, James Ward, at 22 years of age, sailed off to Scotland on the Ahurangi. A further 7 months into the war, James performed a selfless and courageous deed that saved the lives of half a dozen men on the same plane as he. On the night of July 7th, James co-piloted a bomber away from Munster. They were smooth flying when suddenly an enemy plane shot at them from the right. With quick thinking, the enemy plane was shot down and relief spread through the crew. However, this relief was short-lived as James soon realised a fire had broken out near the starboard engine. Petrol was leaking from a split pipe, fuelling the flames. The fire was growing quickly, and the crew made strenuous effort to put it out using extinguishers and even the leftover coffee from their flasks. But the hungry fire continued to eat its way to the right wing, threatening to destroy it, and hence the entire welfare of the bomber and its crew. As the crew were preparing to abandon the aircraft, James stood up and bravely volunteered to climb outside and attempt to smother the flames. Risking his life for his crew, James at first refused to even take a safety parachute in case the wind resistance was too much. He climbed out the narrow astro hatch and began his journey toward the fire. The wind pressure was so immense, James was forced to claw his way through the fabric, making hand and footholds where needed. He managed to climb 2 metres along the side of the plane, 13,000 feet above the ground, to the fire which he smothered with wing fabric, and then began his perilous journey back toward the cockpit, knowing full well that the petrol leak could catch and send the fire toward him at any moment. But because of James, the bomber landed safely, and all those aboard walked off unharmed. Imagine being aboard that plane, certain that it was going to explode, and then making a safe landing because of James. Imagine how thankful you and the rest of the crew would be to him. But James just shrugged it off with the New Zealand attitude of, no biggie. Life went on for James until he was summoned to 10 Downing Street by Winston Churchill himself. The New Zealander was dumbstruck with awe and stuttered through Churchill's questions after he'd been awarded the highest military decoration, the Victoria Cross. He was a very shy man, and Churchill eventually regarded him with some commiseration, saying, "You must feel humble and awkward in my presence." James managed a, "Yes, sir." "Then you can imagine how humble and awkward I feel in yours," Churchill replied. But just 3 months after James's heroic deed, he he was killed in action when his bomber plane was hit, caught fire, and crashed. This noble man's tragic death was just one of over 60 million in World War II. As I sat researching about James Ward and many other war heroes, I came across a website that was a war death database. I typed in New Zealand and watched as thousands of names grew upon my screen. 19, 20, 21, 26, 29, and most of them killed before their 30th birthday. I sat in silence as tears rolled down my cheeks. I am filled with gratitude to every single New Zealander that contributed in any war. No matter who they were, nothing they did was a small deed. They were all courageous and true heroes, and my heart overflows with pride for them. We sit here today in our beautiful country as proud and loyal New Zealanders. We may be a small country, but when our big brother Britain called for us in their time of need, every New Zealander sacrificed their own needs in order to stand up and fight for our country. The war was brutal and heartbreaking, but it shaped our country's heritage, and I can say that even 3 generations later, I am still moved to tears by it. This year, 2013, I'm growing up. My 18th year of life, my 13th year of school, and this year I can say how grateful I am to every single person that made my future possible, abundant with opportunities. This year I am even prouder to call myself a New Zealander, and I stand indebted to those men and women, those fallen, and those still standing proud today. And I can truly say, we will remember them. Thank you.
I think you were in shock. Were you not expecting it?
I don't think you're ever expecting it. I mean, everyone's was so good. I really had no idea who was going to get it, and I think my heart was beating faster when I went up on stage than it was when I was doing my speech. I don't even know what to say about it.
So what are you most looking forward to about this year?
Well, of course, the trip to Gallipoli will be good. When I started researching about my speech, I didn't know anything about the war beforehand, and I was really, really moved by it, as you could probably tell during my speech. So I think just hearing what Jonathan said, it will be really, really moving to me to go and see all the old war heroes and see what the Turkish side of it is like. So I'm really looking forward to that.